Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy, and today is Thursday, February 15th, 2024. We've just started our Lenten journey, and today we're taking the readings from Thursday after Ash Wednesday. That's literally what it's called. And today's Gospel comes to us from the Gospel according to Luke, chapter 9, verses 22 through 25. Jesus said to his disciples, "The Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised." Then he said to all, "If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. What profit is there for one to gain the whole world, yet lose or forfeit himself?" Today's Gospel is a very appropriate one as we start out on our Lenten journey, since this is precisely the time for self-denial and taking up one's cross. Although we've certainly heard this Gospel before, it's good to consider again the three things Jesus tells us to do. First, deny ourselves. Second, take up our crosses daily. And third, follow him. Regarding the first, in his Long Rules, St. Basil the Great writes that self-denial involves the entire forgetfulness of the past and surrender of one's will. Forget the past and surrender one's will. Now, that Greek word for deny could be also translated as disown or repudiate. It's a very strong rejection. For instance, when a father disowns a son, it means that the child is utterly forgotten, cast aside, as it were, and he becomes just like any other person. As Basil notes, self-denial means to forget the past. Oftentimes this means forgetting our achievements and whatever good things we've done, in the sense that these are really things that God has done in me. I can't take pride or complacency in them, as though somehow I had reached a point where I've done enough for God. It's, as we read in Luke's Gospel, when you have done all you've been commanded, say, "We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do." However, we can also see this forgetfulness means casting off our sins. Obviously, and not only in the sense of not committing them, but also not letting ourselves be bound to the memory of them. As St. John Paul the Great proclaimed, "We are not the sum of our weaknesses and failures. We're the sum of the Father's love for us and our real capacity to become the image of his Son Jesus." We're not the sum of our weaknesses and failures. We're the sum of God's love for us and our ability to become images of his Son. Now, secondly, Christ tells us to take up our cross daily. Again, Basil says that readiness to die for Christ, the mortification of one's members on this earth, preparedness for every danger which might befall us on behalf of Christ's name, detachment from this life, this it is to take up one's cross. It's worth recalling that the Romans considered crucifixion as the most horrid of deaths, and they refused to impose it on their own citizens. In other words, it was reserved for foreigners, those who lived in Roman territories but weren't Roman. In the same way, too, the carrying of our cross comes to us who, although we live in this world, we're not of the world. We're simply passing through. And every day we need to be reminded of this. And so every day we have to take up our crosses in the forms of the sufferings that come our way, the inconveniences and annoyances that pop up, and even the anxieties and frustrations that creep in. Remember this too, that when we do this, we're not carving a new path or doing any sort of trailblazing. Christ himself took the royal road of the cross. If we deny ourselves and take up our crosses, it needs to be to follow him, meaning out of love for him, because we strive to be like the one we love. So today, through the intercession of Mary, Our Lady of Sorrows, let's ask for the grace to truly love Jesus Christ, and out of love for him, to deny ourselves, take up our crosses daily, and follow him.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing the gospel and homily, I invite you to share it with someone you know who may also find it rewarding, and also to subscribe to the Catholic Voice channel. Please see in the description below if you would like to receive a text message for each daily gospel and homily. Please also keep our missionary priests throughout the world in your prayers. Thank you, and God bless.